President, please be seated. The court is now back in session. You may proceed, Mr. Kope.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to ask for a clarification in respect of a document that was shown to the witness by the international co-prosecutor. Yesterday at 9:50, we received a notification of a request for correction on document E3/4093. That's the document that was extensively shown to the witness. And when I have a look at this request for correction, it says, at least in the English version, that the word son is deleted from the English translation, and we only see his signature. So I'm not quite sure whether the witness has been, obviously the witness has been shown the Khmer version of the document, but I'm not quite sure how to understand the English translation. Are we now saying, well, maybe I should say also that the request was made by a certain Riyad Panhin, I don't know who he is, and it was done on Friday, 6th of March. But the only thing I can say now is that the English translation of this document now has deleted officially the name son. And I was just wondering what the background of this request is.
President, you may proceed, International Co-Prosecutor.
Your Honor, obviously I'm not a translator. I'm at a disadvantage, but I understand that counsel is referring to the page in English, the Khmer ERN is 00270787. And on that page, in the box that's the writing that appears horizontally in the middle of the page, the name below it, I understand, and perhaps the Khmer members of the defense teams can verify, is son. And then a date, 7/8.
Yes, that's my correction, but understanding. But in the correction, it now says deleted son. So if you look at, there's apparently a document which is called E3/4093 correction, and so the signature, it says signature, but it says literally deleted son. So it seems that the translators are now saying that the word son cannot be recognized on the original Khmer version. That's how I understand it, but if I'm wrong, I stand to be corrected.
President, you may proceed, Deputy National Co-Prosecutor. Prosecutor, the defense was referring to E3/4091 said by co-prosecutor. And this is the document with the handwriting, with the signature date, and this document dated 7 August, and the signature looked like the name of a person.
No, Mr. President, it is. I have it in front of me, and the email actually says it itself. The notification by the greffier, it says it's E3/4093. 409.3. That's the document that we've been discussing extensively. My understanding is that the word son from that original Khmer document is now being deleted in the translation, which I don't know, seems to imply that whoever translated this document now is of the opinion that the word son is not recognizable.
President, you may proceed, Judge Fence.
Apparently, the whole issue has been further complicated because there has been a translation problem in translating the numbers, the ERN numbers you mentioned. So may I ask you again to give us the ERN number of the document that has been corrected?
Yes.
And please, interpreters, pay specific attention. There was a problem into French.
Judge Vance, the ERN number that I have on the left bottom is 010-72346. And on the right bottom, right page up, it says E3/4093/ I believe correction.
And it was filed on?
It was filed this Friday and notified to the parties at 9:50 in the morning yesterday.
Thank you. The Chamber obviously recognizes that that has to be clarified. We will do that during the lunch break. Should it be necessary to use this document in the meanwhile, please use the Khmer version, the Khmer original.
Can I just clarify, because the number that counsel gave for the Khmer original is completely different than the number that we have. This is the one about Okay. I'd perhaps better leave it for now.
Perhaps Isis, could you give a copy to one of our legal officers? He can make a copy so we know what you're talking about.
បាទជាបន្តទៅទៀតតើ
President, I would like to know how much time you need for a legal lawyer.
I think I can be done by 11 o'clock if that's necessary. But I will rely on the Chamber's wisdom with regard to that.
បាទអនុញ្ញាត
President, you may proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Before the break, witness, I put a question to you about the militia, and I would like you to explain to us how the militia would operate in Tramkok Cooperative.
No.
Answer. In Tramkok district, there were militia in commune and in districts. These two types of militia is to protect the security for commune and for the districts.
Can you be a bit more specific regarding the different tasks that were accomplished by the commune militia and by the district militia?
Answer. I mentioned already that commune and district militias were to provide security to respective commune and districts. That's all.
What do you mean by security?
Answer. As for the term security, for instance, if there was any issue or if there was any incident, the militia was to be deployed to provide security.
And were the militiamen armed?
Answer. During their time, they were lightly armed. For instance, in one commune, there would be 10 militiamen, and they had only 2 or 3 rifles or weapons. So in the platoon, there was a platoon as well, and one platoon had 30 members. And in Norie, near National Road number 3, there was a unit, and in other areas near the mountain, and in that area there was also a unit. As I said, they were not heavily armed.
Thank you. And how were the militiamen recruited? And how old were they?
Answer. Upon my arrival, I could see that the structure was already organized. As for the age of militiamen, the age ranks was between 18 to 35, rather 30.
Je vous remercie.
Thank you. So the commune militia were the commune militiamen in charge of supervising the couples that had just gotten married?
Answer no.
Je vous remercie. Je voudrais...
Thank you. I would like you to react to a testimony we heard a little earlier on in this trial on 17 February 2015. And a witness came. He was a base person, and he came to testify. And I would like to read out an excerpt from the transcript E1/264.1. And this person stated at around 10:55, while he was being questioned about the role of the secret agents, and he said, free translation, after the wedding, the unit chief sent schlop spies to listen at night. In reality, there were 2 schlop spies per house to listen to the couple. And a little bit further on, he says they wanted to know if the couple would consummate the wedding. And if that was not the case, the couple was summoned and would be reprimanded. If a couple got along well and consummated the marriage, there was no problem. The couple could go work as normal. I wanted to know, witness, if when you were at Tramkok, if you saw militiamen listen to couples below their houses after they had gotten married.
Answer no.
Je vous remercie.
Thank you. More generally speaking, how would couples get married at Tramkok during the period you were posted there? Can you tell us how couples would marry at Tramkok?
Answer. Actually, as for marriage of 4 couples would marry in one time, and the 4 couples would get married, and after that there was a dinner party, and first the male would be asked to make a resolution, and after that it was the time for the female. After making a resolution, the speech or wishes were expressed by the head of the commune, and there were wishes from the commune chief for the newlyweds, and after that there was the dinner time. And there was no music performed. There were no aja in attendance. and this marriage would last only, the marriage ceremony would last only 2 hours.
Thank you, witness. And were the men and women free to choose their partners?
Answer. Yes, there were some. In some places, the head of the commune or the head of cooperative would decide the partner for those people.
And what would happen if the men and women would refuse marrying the person who was proposed by the commune chief?
Answer. I never encountered such a refusal. After they were matched, they would get married, and for some couples, they made their own decision. And as I said, the head of commune and cooperative on some occasion would decide which couples to be matched. So, and after marriage, I could see the newlyweds got along well with each other.
Je vous remercie.
Thank you. Did the district have a role to play in the way the weddings were organized?
Answer. Actually, I did not see any involvement of the district. However, the request would be made by the commune head to the district that the commune head would like to arrange a marriage for certain couples. And the request was made by the commune chief to the district for consideration, and after that the marriage would be held. And most of the time I did not see any attendance from the district.
Thank you. I would like you to react to the answers that were provided by the person we spoke about since this morning, and this person whose name we cannot disclose, and who was interviewed by the co-investigating judges. This is PVE 319/12.3.2. And this lady whom you knew back then and with whom you attended district meetings indicated to the investigating judge during her interview and in her answer 111 in particular, and I'm going to read the excerpt in English because there's no French translation.
Listed the names of couples to be married and sent the names to the sector level to decide how many couples were to be married each time. Monsieur le témoin, est-ce que...
Witness, does this description correspond to what you experienced back then? That is to say, the fact that the commune would send the names of the couples to the sector level, and then the sector would decide who would marry whom?
President, please hold on, Mr. Witness. You may proceed, Mr. Kope.
I suppose I object to this question. In itself, I understand the practice of reading only one sentence from an answer. However, the standing practice now is to read the complete answer, so I would invite the lead co-lawyer to read also the second part of answer 111.
Mr. President, I do not believe that my colleague should order me to do so. If you ask me to do so, I will do so, but my colleague can do that during his examination. I have no problem with it, but I simply wanted to gain time.
Then I request you to instruct counsel to read the whole paragraph, the whole answer.
Can I just ask a question? Counsel, are you alleging that only reading one sentence is misleading? And if so, why?
No, not necessarily. But the practice is I'm sometimes reading one sentence and then I get objected to. So the answer is much more detailed than the one sentence that is being read now. So because of this practice, I'm now objecting, and I think the whole answer should be read to the witness.
Mr. President, may I answer? I don't believe that this is an established practice. I think that's at the Chamber's discretion to consider if this is appropriate or not. All parties have access to the documents as well as the Chamber, so of course I will rely on your wisdom regarding this issue.
President, the objection of the defense counsel for Mr. Nguyen Jie is overruled in relation to the last question put by the international lead co-lawyer. And I inform the counsel for Mr. Nguyen Jie that you can quote the whole parts of the answer during the time of your questioning. Mr. Witness, you are instructed to provide your response to the question. Witness, please repeat your question. I do not recall it.
Je vais essayer de résumer.
I will try to sum up my question in French under the supervision of the Chamber and the parties. Witness, do you agree with the witness whose testimony I have just cited and who said that the list of names of couples to be married was sent to the commune at the level of the sector, who decided how many couples were to be married on each occasion? Was that the practice, to the best of your recollection?
people who were supposed to get married were sent to the upper level for approval, and sometimes the approval could be made at the commune or at the district level. So the situation varied. It's a case-by-case basis.
Je vous remercie.
Thank you. Did it sometimes happen that the higher level would refuse giving the authorization for such marriages to proceed? And if yes, what happened in that case?
I'd like to clarify this issue again. Some couples involved with or some men or some women who are supposed to get married were forces from the sector level. And if that is the case, then there has to be an authorization from the district up to the sector level. However, for those to be grooms, not at the sector level, then the authorization could only be made only up to the district level. That is from the commune up to the district. And to my knowledge, I never saw any disagreement or disapproval by the sector level in this case.
Je vous remercie.
Thank you. I have one last question, Mr. President, if you would allow me. It's a very short question, and it is a follow-up to the last question. In the same transcript of that witness's testimony, particularly on this subject, answer 117, I'll read the 3 lines of the witness's entire answer in English in order that there may not be any difficulty.
At my site, they all had known one another because my site was not large. We arranged their marriage and the couples agreed. But if the upper level did not approve, they could not marry. Est-ce que vous pouvez nous donner votre avis? Et ce sera ma dernière question.
Can you express an opinion on this? And this will be my last question, particularly to the fact that if the higher level did not approve of the marriage, those persons could not be married.
I never came across such an issue, and if it happened, probably it's out of my recollection. We made a request to the upper level, and most of the time they approved. And I never saw a case where they disapproved such a request.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le témoin.
Thank you, witness, for answering my questions. Thank you, Mr. President, for granting me additional time to examine the witness. I have no further questions for the witness.
President and judges of the bench, do you have questions to be put to this witness? If so, you can proceed. And Judge French, do you have the floor?
Yeah, I have a couple of general follow-up questions. First, witness, can you remind us, did you ever in your life meet Pol Pot, Nun Chio or Kheu Sampang And if I say meet, I also mean see.
During the period from 1975 to 6th January 1979, I met Nun Chia during a yearly study session, and I met him once. As for Khieu Samphan or Pol Pot, I never met them during the 3-year period.
And the study session was when? The study session when you met Nun Chia.
I cannot recall the date. However, it happened around September or October.
Thank you. Thank you. My next question goes to your relationship to Tamok. Now I understand you won't be able to give me a number of times you have had contact with him, but give me an idea. In the time between 75 and end of 78, how often did you have contact of any kind, private or professional, direct or per phone or message, with Tamok? Is this once a year, once a month, once a week, something in between?
I made Tamok in 1975 after Cambodia was liberated. I met him when Tamok set a plan to build a historical dam at Angkor Borei Lake, stretching from Kampong Peu along Canal 99, and it stretched for 4 kilometers. Then it turns to the north. I met him at the time that we were at the work site, and he came to inspect the dam work site. And while I led the workers to build that dam, and that was the time that I was an assistant to Kohandat district. And from that on, I met him on various other occasions. Sometimes I saw him from a distance, or sometimes I met him briefly. And during the 2-month period that the dam was built, I met him rather frequently there when he went to inspect the work site. And after that period, I did not meet him or see him frequently. I again saw him when I was called by him from Kohandat to Takeo, and that when he assigned me to work as an assistant to Tramkot district. And after that, he left Takeo and went to the northwest zone, that is to Battambang province. and that is the fact.
So can you give us an idea how often you met him in 76, if at all?
I did not meet him that often in 1976.
Can we be a bit more precise? That often is very vague. Again, once a week, once a month, once every 2 months, or what else?
In 1976, Tamok was still at the southwest zone, and I met him probably once a month or once every 2 months when he came to Takeo.
Were these private or professional meetings?
I met him during study sessions or during meetings. That is when communes or chiefs of communes were called for meetings at the district. And he also called me to attend those meetings, or sometimes he called me to attend study sessions.
What about 1977?
I did not meet him that frequently in 1977 because after he removed me from Kohandat to be an assistant in Tramkot district, I did not meet him that often, and subsequently he left Takeo for Battambang province in the northwest zone.
Were there any private meetings, family things, weddings, funerals?
No.
And to finish this, 1978, how often did you meet him then, if at all?
I already stated that after he transferred me to work at Tramkot district, he went to Battambang province, and I did not meet him since.
And now I have a couple of questions about the wider Tamok family involvement in politics at the decay period. The prosecutor started this line of questioning yesterday, but used a document which hasn't been admitted, so I'll ask open questions. The questions will go to who of the Tamok family had which position. In order to structure this a bit, how many siblings did Tamok have, and what positions did they have?
Tamok only had daughters, and there were 5 of them. As for the positions, only the eldest daughter held a position. Her name was Khom. Initially, that is after the 1970 coup, Khom was the Tramkot district chief.
What did her husband do, provided she had one?
Mihmut was Khom's husband. In 1970, after the coup, he was in charge of the Sector 13 Army, that is for Takaiva sector. The Sector Army main duty was to fight against the Tribunal force at the time. Later on, and I cannot recall the year, but it was circa 1973 or 74, he was promoted to the zone level, and further later on, he was promoted to the center, and he was in charge of the Navy of Division 164.
I understand you married the youngest daughter, so we know about you. What about the husbands of the other daughters? I think there are 3 left.
There are 4 more. The next daughter of the Khom, named Ho, and her husband was a former soldier who died in the battlefield during 1979.
Next one.
For the next daughter, her husband named Ryan, and to my recollection, Ryan died after 1979, though I cannot recall the exact year. President interrupts. Mr. Witness, can you tell the name again of that daughter? Her name was Khu.
And what did he do before he died?
He was a soldier, although I did not know which position or rank he held, and he went to live in Anlungwei area after 1979.
I believe that leaves us with 1 daughter and her husband.
The next daughter named Hien, and her husband was Boran, and the husband also died after 1979, and probably died around 1990s.
And what did he do between 75 and 9?
he was in the logistic transportation unit between the border to the southwest zone, in particular to Takao province.
And do you know of any other relatives of Tamok, cousins, etc., who were in senior positions of authority?
As for his cousins or other relatives, I do not know many of them. Originally, I am from Kondal province, while he was from Takao province. And as I did not stay much longer in Takao province, so I did not know much about his distant relatives. I refer to his cousins or other relatives.
Mm-hmm. My last question, did you ever hear the words brother number 1 or 2 in connection with democratic Cambodia?
I heard the word brother number 1.
When did you hear it?
That was during the 3-year period. That is after the war ended.
So you never heard it between 75 and the beginning of 79?
I already stated I heard that word used after the war ended, so I refer to the period of 1975 to 1979.
Sorry, my mistake. Who was brother number 1?
Pol Pot or Uncle Pol Pot was brother number 1.
Are you aware of any other brothers with numbers and who they were?
That's all I heard about brother with number.
Thank you.
In addition, I also heard brother number 2, but I did not know whom it refers to. President Chachlaven, you have the floor.
Oui, merci, monsieur.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Witness, I have a number of questions for you, and it is likely to take more than the 5 minutes remaining this morning. I would like to start by asking you to clarify something in response to a question put to you by Judge Vance. You said that you met Nguyen Chia during a meeting that was held in September or in October. But in any case, in French, I did not hear the year in which that meeting was held. Can you tell us where and in what year that meeting took place?
The meetings were held in September or October. It was one of these 2 months, although I am not 100% sure. It was held in the year 1977 at the Boraikela compound located to the north of Praput Pagoda in Phnom Penh.
Combien de fois
How often did you have the opportunity to go to Phnom Penh to meet leaders? How many times did you have the opportunity to go to Phnom Penh to meet leaders, or for any other reasons?
I came to Phnom Penh once a year for a yearly study session, and it happened in 1977 and then in 1978. And in addition, when my knee was injured, I came for the treatment at the Soviet hospital, and I was hospitalized for 3 months at a time.
à qui étaient ouvertes ces réunions?
Who could attend those training sessions, and who conducted those training sessions apart from Nuon Chea?
The provincial level would select people to attend the study sessions, and I observed that there were people from the district levels and some assistants also from the district levels, and they were sent to the study that study session. And for the study sessions that I attended, the only trainer was Nuon Chea.
Donc, quand vous dites que vous avez...
So when you say that you met with Nuon Chea only once, that is false, because you said that you went to Phnom Penh several times, and that on each occasion the training was conducted by Nuon Chea. Or did I not properly understand your testimony?
I think you misunderstood my statement. I attended a study session once in 1977 and when I met Nuon Chea. And again, I attended a study session in 1978, and that was a second occasion that I met Nuon Chea. And besides that, I came to the Soviet hospital for my treatment.
And what was the content of this training? What was being discussed during this training?
It is very difficult to recall the contents of the study sessions, as the period has passed for more than 30 years. There were documents, several documents provided for the study sessions, and I cannot recall the details of the content of those documents, nor the titles of those documents. And usually at the conclusion of the study session, they would hold a criticism and self-criticism meeting to evaluate our study session and what we learned. And then we would hold a joint meeting, and after that a group meetings for the criticism. But let me repeat again, I cannot recall the content of the documents provided during the study sessions.
And was the aim of these meetings to define the political line of the CPK?
I already stated that it is very difficult for me to recall exactly what were taught or discussed during the study sessions, as it has been for almost 40 years now.
So you went to Phnom Penh several times. So I suppose that meeting Nunchia is something that did not leave you indifferent. So please make some efforts and please tell us what you heard during these meetings.
I will try to recall it, but if I force myself not to recall it, I cannot do it. I may need more time to recall the contents of the study sessions.
Fine. Do you have any memory issues? Do you manage to remember things that happened recently or maybe longer ago?
I have problems with memory, as my recollection is not that good. Usually, for example, when I work in my farm, I will write down what I need to do in my notebook. For example, at what time I have to water the vegetables. So, just to summarize, I do have problem with my memory.
So, regarding these meetings with Nunchia, you have no idea of what was discussed during these meetings, not even in very broad terms? You have no idea, absolutely no idea?
I can recall some that is on the building of a class, peasant class, and about the class struggle, and to get rid of the capitalist class from within ourselves. For instance, these are some of the contents of the study sessions that I can recall.
And did Nunchia ever speak to you about the enemies of the CPK?
I do not have anything to hide, John, but I simply cannot recall it. Even for my daily work with my family, I have difficulty with it. And I remember about the class struggle, and that we had to get rid of this capitalist class, because it happens to me personally. So I had to train myself or to refashion myself to become one of the people in the peasant class. President, the time is now convenient for a short break for lunch. We will take a break now and return at 1:30 this afternoon. And court officer, please assist the witness during the lunch break and invite him back into the courtroom with his duty counsel at 1:30, and security guards, please bring Kyo Sampon to the waiting room downstairs and have him back into the courtroom prior to 1:30. The court is now in recess.
សូមអញ្ជើញក្រាបឈរ